Well, hello you, this is Shane from Shane's Books and Review, and I'm so happy that you came by today. Thank you for that. It is Friday, and we are going to be talking about Medusa Uploaded, a book wrote by Emily Devenport. Well, there's some things that we should get out in the open about the book. It is a setup book to a series, which I mentioned on Monday, and it's kind of a unique book. Reasons being, at the end of it, some things are wrapped up, but a lot's left open, which clearly screams sequels. Things that made me feel about this book, or things that I like or dislike. Character transformations, not really going to see a whole lot of that. There are, of course, the transformations of the story of the character throughout the book, but the character herself doesn't really go through this big moment of epiphany. Her name is Oichi, and she is on a generation ship. The original one that she was on got destroyed because of politics. There is a structure in these generational ships. Think of the people that are leading it. Well, politicians slash mobsters slash families that control a lot of things. So that's kind of that part of it. And those people have ultimate control and can do anything they want, almost untouchable. Everybody else are just there to serve them. Now, Oichi describes herself as an assassin in the very beginning of the book, and it's easy to forget this whenever you're reading the book because she doesn't go on about, I am an assassin over and over and over. It's not something that's drove home, and that was appreciated. And the first point of unbalance that we come across in the books, it has to do with a situation where she's fairly well abused by one of these members of the family, and they don't like that she kind of had a spine, so they eject her out of an airlock, and that's whenever we come across the first surprise. Let's backtrack a little bit though. Oichi, her family, they were really into the arts, music specifically, and it seems like each one of these families or clans, whatever you want to call them, they all have their own little special libraries or their special things that they're into, which I can see that. That would actually kind of be a unique way of having it, but it would also suck being tied to a family name and being only into this specific type of art. Some families are precious metals, some families or clans have to do with weapons. That all plays into these politics. And as she gets ejected and this surprise finds her, that's where her family stuff is tied in because she has this implant. This implant, although it does have the music from the family in it, it also has something else in it, which allows her to interface with things around her. That's got something really big in it, and she starts to replicate this for very specific people that she thinks that she can trust and bring into the fold, even though she really doesn't trust anyone, and that's fine. Because if you were living in a society where everybody was out to get you, why would you? This thing called Medusa snatches her as soon as she leaves the airlock, puts something much like a mask over her face and keeps her alive, and introduces herself to her. These two end up teaming up together. Well, there's this whole subplot, which I'm not going to talk about, but was probably one of the, I can't say the most unique thing I've ever read in sci-fi, but as far as the concept of it goes, it is a unique concept, and it was well executed, and it will tie into the future books or the sequels that come out from this series. And I kind of look forward to seeing how that goes. With today's technology and the way that we are, even people like Elon Musk talking about things where we can become super cognate. And cognitability is something that is very fascinating if you actually stop and get into it. What if we went that next step and we were able to access anything on the internet, factual, not thought to be factual, or I'm using my feelings as facts today. Credit to Philip DeFranco on that. But what if we have that cognitive ability of if somebody asked us a question, we instantly have that answer? Granted, with these kinds of devices, we're kind of there. It wouldn't be that much of a stretch of the imagination. But I also wonder if we were able to have implants like that, what would that do for the individual? Would you stop really caring about the simple things and the simple pleasures and joys of life? Or would that enhance those for you? Not necessarily because you would be interacting with that implant. Because of that implant, you would enjoy the wind blowing through your hair, or a leaf on a tree on a very specific day with just the way the sun's lighting it. What if that brought us back more to ourselves and to nature? It would be kind of a neat thing. Good thought experiment. What do you guys think? I'm curious. Here's another question. If Elon Musk got a hold of you with the super cognitive thing that he's actually been developing, what if that was a thing that was viable and they reached out to you and said, hey, would you like to give this a shot? Would you give it a try? I know what my answer is. And if enough of you ask, I'll tell. Digression number 3, I guess. Alright, sorry. Oichi ends up depending heavily on Medusa, and vice versa, but not for the reasons that you would think. There are large amounts of things that happen in the book whenever it comes to are there aliens, are we aliens? That was a fairly unique way of getting around a couple of issues as well in the book. So overall, it was a very enjoyable book. I did like reading it, and if I come across another one of them, I will certainly pick it up and find out where it heads to, because I do like the way that they had things set up. The book did have a high amount of energy behind it, as there wasn't a whole lot of downtime whatsoever. Unlike some books that are absolutely filled to the brim with exposition and blah, this one continued to move. So if that kind of a item is important to you, this one will certainly fulfill that. So would I give it the recommendation for a sci-fi alien, but not really, book that has to do with space and seeing a unique style of assassin? Yes, I certainly would recommend it. I wouldn't put this on the top of my list by any means whatsoever, but the book is not mediocre either. If you happen to check it out, I would love to hear about it. Let me know down there. You know what to do. Again, today's book was Medusa Uploaded, wrote by Emily Devenport. Like, share, subscribe. This is Shane with Shane's Books and Review, and I'll see you on Monday. Are you still here? Wow, you've really stuck it through to the end. Well, thank you. Have a good weekend.